Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the baby turtle tutorial. So in case you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'm going to link it in the description below. So let's head right into the video. Now we're no longer working in the back loop. So for round 2 to 3, we're just going to put in one single crochet throughout, and we should still have a total of 40 stitches. Of course, remember to chain 1 and put your stitch marker at the top of the first single crochet. So I'll put in my stitch marker here, and I'm going to put in the remaining 39. So I'll do this for round 2, and then I'll do it for round 3 as well, and I'll meet you at the end of round 3. For round 4, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to put in 2 consecutive single crochets, and then we'll make a decrease. So we're going to make what is called an invisible decrease, and you notice that the belly will start to close up. To make an invisible decrease, we're going to go into the front loops only of the next 2 stitches. And you should have 3 loops on your hook like this. Then you yarn over and pull up a loop through the first 2 loops on your hook, and you should have 2 loops left on your hook. Then you yarn over for the second time and pull up a loop through the last 2 stitches, and then you have 1 loop on your hook, and that's how we make an invisible decrease. So for this round, we're going to keep making 2 single crochets and a decrease 10 times, and at the end of the round we should have a total of 30 single crochets. And for round 5, as usual, we're going to chain 1, and we'll make 1 single crochet and then a decrease. We're going to do this throughout, and at the end we should have a total of 20 single crochets. So I'll go in, I'll make 1 single crochet, and then you can go ahead and put your stitch marker, and then we'll make a decrease. So continue with the 1 single crochet and decrease, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. At this point, we can stuff the turtle a bit, not too much, because we're still going to stuff it as we approach the end of the belly. Now, to go to round 6, we're going to make a decrease throughout, and at the end we should have a total of 10 single crochets. So I'm going to chain 1, and we'll make a decrease throughout. So after the first decrease, we're still going to put our stitch marker, and then we'll continue with the decrease. So continue with this, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So you can see the hole is gradually closing up. Now we're going to stuff it a bit more before we proceed to the last round. So if you don't want your work to come undone, you can pull up this loop a bit and then go ahead and stuff however much you want to stuff it. So for round 7, we're also going to make a decrease throughout. So at the end, we should have 5 single crochets. So after the first decrease, I'll put my stitch marker. So continue like this, and I'll meet you at the end of the round so we can close up the hole. Okay, so I've slip stitched, and I'm going to cut off a tail that we'll use to close up the little hole that we have at the end. So something like this should be enough, about 3 to 4 inches. Now I'm going to pull out the loop from the slip stitch like this, Next, get your darning needle and thread the yarn through the darning needle. Now we have 5 stitches left at the end of this round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in through the front loop of those 5 stitches, the front loop only of those 5 stitches, beginning from here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'll pull on it and the hole is going to close up like this. So this is what we have. Now I'm not done. I want to make sure that this is very secure so it doesn't unravel. So I'll go from the bottom to the opposite end like this. So let's say this is north south, so from the south to the north like this. And then I'll go from the side to the side like this. And then I'll go right into the middle. This, I think I went a bit too far, so we don't have to see this, but it's okay. And then I'll go right into the middle of the hole. I'll come out on the other side. My stitches are so tight that my darning needle is having a hard time coming out. That's good. I'll go right to the other side and then I'll bring it out, but I won't pull too tightly so I don't have a dent here. So you see, you're not even supposed to see this. I went too far. Just a bit closer would have been enough, but it's fine. It's not too bad. Now I want to hide the rest of my yarn. I want to hide a bit of it into the body of the turtle. So I'll go right into the same place, come out in a different position. I'll do that one more time, go into the same place. And come out in another position. You can see the yarn is a bit shorter, and then I'll cut off the rest. And then the part that's poking out, I'm going to push it in. And there you go. So cute. So for the head, we're basically going to repeat what we did with the limbs from round 1 to round 5. So you can use the timestamp and go to where we did the limbs if you've forgotten. And we're going to repeat the same thing we did from round 1 to round 5 of the limb. So work on round 2 to 5 and I'll meet you at the end of that round. Now for the next 4 rounds, we're going to just put in 1 single crochet throughout. That means we're not making any increases. So we'll chain 1 and just put in 1 single crochet throughout, and we should still have a total of 30 single crochets. So do that and I'll meet you at the end of round 9. So I'm done making round 9. And for round 10, we're going to start with our decreases. But before we do that, let's put our eyes. I'm going to place my eyes between row 5 and 6. You can see I initially tried it here. I did not like it. So let's try. Between row 5 and 6. Okay. So this should do. Now that I'm satisfied with where the eyes are, I'm going to put my safety. All right, so for round 10, we're going to make 3 single crochets and then we'll make a decrease. So we'll do that until the end and we should have a total of 24 single crochets. So 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. So 3 consecutive single crochets and then a decrease. So continue with that and I'll meet you at the end of the round. Okay, so I'm done with round 10. So for round 11, we're going to put in 2 single crochets and then a decrease. And at the end of the round, we should have 18 single crochets. So go ahead and do that and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've gotten to the end of round 11. So for round 12, we're going to do 1 single crochet and then a decrease. And at the end of the round, we should have 12 single crochets. So at this point, I'm going to stuff the turtle. So in order not to have my work come undone while I'm stuffing it, I'm going to just pull this loop and then stuff it. So go ahead and stuff it to your heart's desire. So for round 13, we're going to make a decrease throughout and we should have a total of 6 single crochets at the end of the round. So go ahead and make the decrease throughout, beginning from the first stitch here and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've gotten to the end of round 13 and I feel like I want to add just a bit more stuffing. So I'll use my hook. You can use a tinier hook or the darning needle to sort of push it in. I feel like I just want to add a bit more here. Okay, so I've done that. I'm satisfied now. Now, just like we did with the belly, we're going to do the same here. So cut up a bit of yarn. So pull out the loop from your slip stitch. And now, since we have 6 single crochets at the end here, we're going to work into the front loop only 6 times, just like we did with the belly. For the belly we did 5, but for this we're going to do 6 because we have 6 at the end. So I'll go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we'll pull on this and you see the hole is going to close. So just like we did with the belly as well, I'll go in from this time. I'm not going to go too far, from the bottom to the top like this, and from the side to the side, just here. And then now, because I don't want this protrusion, I'm just going to go right into the middle and come out somewhere else on the other side. So you can see the protrusion is hidden. So I want to hide some of this into the body of into the head. So I'll just repeat the same process. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the rest off. Okay, and now we have the head. It's looking so cute. So now I'm going to sew on the head, but it's important to make sure that it's centralized. before going ahead. So it's good that I have a table right here. So I'll make sure that it's right in the middle between these two limbs, and then I'll go ahead and sew it. So there's really no formula to sewing it. If you have something that you can use to hold it down, that's fine. But for me, I don't. So how I'm going to sew it is, I'm just going to work in. So since this is the round I'm choosing to work around, I'll sew in a circular motion. So as I sew, I'll make sure that my eyes are being centralized so we don't have the eyes looking weird. So I'll just make sure that the head is being centralized. So I'll just keep going. So this is where I have chosen to use as my circular, this round I've chosen to use it as my guide. So I'll just keep coming in and out of the shell and the head. And then as I go, I'll tighten it so that the thread is not visible since they are two different colors. So now I'm back to where I started from. So what I'm going to do is I'll just weave in, and I want to get to that point so I can tie them together and hide. So after pulling to make sure it's very secure, I'm going to tie them together. Maybe twice or 3 times. Then I'll cut off the excess, but I'll leave some because I want to push that in. So I'll just use the darning needle and tuck it in like this and cover it up. Forgive me if the eyes are not exactly exactly straight, but it's so cute. I love, 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 love it. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, please let me know in the comment section. If you would love to see more tutorials like this, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more amazing content on crocheting, on crafting, and just basically anything creative and artistic. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.